Hello students, I am back here with a new video in which we are going to discuss metaphysical poetry. So first of all, we'll know what metaphysical poetry is. Metaphysical poetry is a little bit different. The poems classified in this group do share common characteristics. Try to understand what is written over here. They are all highly intellectualized, use rather strange imagery, highly intellectualized, and using rather strange imagery, use frequent paradox, and contain extremely complicated thought. Frequently use of paradox and extremely complicated thought. What they say, actually the hidden meaning is different. So the metaphysical poetry has a different characteristics. However, metaphysical poetry is not regarded as a genre of poetry. It is not a different genre. In fact, the main poets of this group did not read each other's work and didn't know that they were even part of a classification. Unknowingly, they exercised this trend. Literary critic and poet Samuel Johnson, who is known as the beginner of or pioneer of this trend, first coined the term metaphysical poetry in his book Lives of the Most Eminent English Poets. In the book, Johnson wrote about a group of 17th century British poets that included John Donne, George Herbert, Richard Crashaw, Andrew Marvell, and Henry Vaughan. He noted how the poets shared many common characteristics, especially ones of wit and elaborate style. So the next question is, what does metaphysical mean? The meaning of the word metaphysical. The word meta means after. So the literal translation of metaphysical is after the physical. Basically, metaphysics deals with questions that can't be explained by science. It questions the nature of reality in a philosophical way. Here are some common metaphysical questions. What are the questions which can't be answered by science? The first question is, does God exist? And science can't answer it. Is there a difference between the way things appear to us and the way they really are? Essentially, what is the difference between reality and perception? So this is another important question. What is the reality? Is the thing which it seems is actually it is the same or not? Is everything that happens already predetermined? If so, then is free choice non-existent? Is consciousness limited to the brain? So these are the basic questions which deal with the metaphysical term. Metaphysics can cover a broad range of topics from religious to consciousness. However, all the questions about metaphysics ponder the nature of reality. And of course, there is no one correct answer to any of these questions. Metaphysics is about exploration and philosophy, not about science and math. So the next point is characteristics of the metaphysical poetry. The group of metaphysical poets that we mentioned or we talk about only poets or philosophers or writers that deal with the metaphysical questions. There are other more specific characteristics that prompted Johnson to place the 17th century poets together. Perhaps the most common characteristic is that metaphysical poetry contained large doses of wit. So, wit is the essential element of metaphysical poetry. In fact, although the poets were examining serious questions about the existence of God or whether a human could possibly perceive the world, the poets were sure to ponder those questions with humor. Metaphysical poetry also sought to shock the reader and wake him or her up from his or her normal existence in order to question the unquestionable. To make them unquestionable, they the question's existence is given. The poetry often mixed ordinary speech with paradoxes and puns. Paradoxes and puns are exercised. These are also different terms. The results were strange, comparing unlikely things such as lovers to a compass or the soul to a drop of dew. So, the comparisons can be entirely different, which are not common, as the lovers are compared, or compass is used for lovers, and soul, for soul they have used drop of dew. So these are not very related terms or related objects. These weird comparisons were called conceits, and these comparisons which are not which are not likely to the original thing are generally taken in conceits. This is another literary term. Metaphysical poetry also explored a few common themes. They all had a religious sentiment. In addition, many of the poems explored the theme of carpe diem. Carpe diem seized the day and investigated the humanity of life. Carpe diem theory, what does it tell? It tells that the life is very short. So, enjoy the life, or what you want to do, just do it, because life is very short duration. The great way to analyze metaphysical poetry is to consider how the poems are about both thought and feeling. Think about it. How could you possibly write a poem about the existence of God if you didn't have some emotional reaction to such an enormous, life altering question? So, this was all about metaphysical poetry, but the next point is the uh, introduction of some important poets of this trend. Among them, John Donne is very important for you. We have some poems of John Donne. We have read it. Go and Catch a Falling Star, we have read already, written by John Donne. 1572 to 1631. He was born in 1572 and died in 1631. So in the next video we'll discuss about the poets and something more about the metaphysical poetry. Thank you and have a nice day.